Hey, what is good, everybody? Today I'm going to show you the customization for the RB19 that some of y'all requested. This is the car I'm going to be basing myself off. This is my already customized RB19. The exhaust, floor plank, the floor edges, the front wing and suspension is pretty much the big that's been done on this car. It's not that complicated to do. So here's it's a brand new RB19. I haven't even opened it yet. So I'm just gonna take a screwdriver and unscrew it from the base. So it's not really complicated. All you need is a bit of silver nail polish. Get sandpaper, obviously, a bit of paint, and a knife. So for the front wing, we want to take it and slightly make it rounder at the front edge. For the floor, we want to put some little nicks into it to make it look like it actually has aerodynamic pieces. The floor plank is just paint. The rear wing also is a bit modified. So here's my knife that I use. These are the two paints that I'm going to use, black and tan. This is the paintbrush I use most of the time. It's not so small, but it's not too big. This is the silver nail polish. So, the first thing I usually do is all the cutting. So the rear wing here, you can see that the flap on the 23 car is connected. I think it looks better when it's just the flap that's up. The front wing, the sort of shark fin and the floor. So here, you gotta be really careful. You just want to follow the line of the flap of the wing and cut a triangle right in there. Obviously, you want to do this on both sides of the wing. Sometimes it's a little tricky to get in there, but if you just trim it down slowly, you'll get to it eventually. And there it looks pretty decent. So if y'all did notice, this is actually a voiceover I'm doing. It's the first time I'm doing it. So I actually made this a couple weeks ago. Alright, so that's the wing done, the rear wing. Next up, I'm doing the little fin on the engine cover. For this one, you can do it while the car is fully assembled, but I do like to take the base off so that the rear wing and the DRS thingy is not in the way. So this again is just cutting a little triangle into it so that it can look the way it did for a decent part of 2023. Now that will cut into the number one, but it's fine with me. I don't really mind it. So again, it's just a triangle. Try not to cut too deep. Try not to hurt yourself. Very, very simple. Just trimming it now. Make sure it has the right shape. Alright. Now that, I don't know, I think I was just trimming a bit of the plastic at the back of the engine cover. But yeah. The mold excess from when the plastic was made. Alright. And then you can put this back on, but not before forgetting the rear suspension and DRS thing. I don't know what they call it. And then here I think I'm going to do the front wings. Yeah. So the front wings, it's a bit more complicated as you have to get the right shape, and getting the right shape is very important. It's not just a straight line down. I trim the corners first to get a general look at how the rounded part looks like. And yes, this will also cut into the Mobile One logo. So the front ring is a bit tricky because it's also flapping around a little bit. It's not a hard plastic. It can be, a bit folded, I guess you could say. It can be bent. Yeah, bent. And then here I'm just comparing to make sure the shape ends up right. The front wing is actually probably the hardest thing to do about this mod. The second would be the front suspension, because you really have to disassemble the whole car and be careful because it's a lot of thin plastic parts, but you'll see that later. Now, obviously, I'm not an expert at all this, so that's why I take it very slowly. I only trim a bit off at a time so that I can make sure it's the right shape and it's equal on both sides. I think that's the hardest part, making it equal on both sides. But you can see here it's turning out not too bad. At the time of recording this video right now, like a voiceover, I did order most of the 2024 cars that just came out. That's the McLarens, the Mercedes, and the Alpines. The McLarens, there is the standard one. Well, on the box it says Miami. So the Miami one and the Monaco livery. Mercedes is just a standard W15. And the Alpines, they have two versions, a blue version and a pink version, which is slightly different liveries. But I'm gonna get all these. Anyway, so onto the suspension. So the suspension here, like I said, it is one of the more complicated parts, as you really have to get in there and hold the base so that it doesn't all bend. I usually try to make the blade go towards the axle because that's a bit of metal, so it can stop it. It can take the hit from the blade if it has to. And yeah, this is what I shouldn't have done. Go towards my finger, because right there I just cut my finger, as you can see. And then I think I took care of that right after. And there you go. I took care of it, not very well. I just waited there until it stopped bleeding mostly. And it's super glue, because I think I did cut another piece of the suspension on the side there. And so after that, I'm gonna try to I did glue it back in place. And here I am doing the same thing I just did that got me hurt. Now my finger is bleeding. I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. 'Cause, you know, I should notice that in a couple seconds. There you go. ' I just try to pry the piece of plastic out. So this is what I mean by it's one of the most complicated parts, because you really have to get in there. You don't want to damage any other parts around the suspension arms, because in the case of the Red Bulls right there, if you compare it to the RB20 suspension, it's like that piece of plastic shouldn't even be there. It's like support structure for the front axle. So that's what I based myself off. I also went on Google and looked at images of the front suspension of the Red Bull car, and then no, those pieces technically weren't there. So the black paint, I think, was for the front suspension arms, the ones that are on the mold of metal, the die-cast metal, because they are painted the same color as the body. Now they already are very, very dark blue color. It almost looks black. But if you're like me and you pay attention to the details, you can see the difference from the dark blue into the black. There it is. That's one set of it, and then let's do the other. That's probably the easiest part of all this, honestly. The painting, it's like child's play. Alright, now onto the exhaust. So you do want to have it disassembled for this to work. You take your silver nail polish. Well, I use nail polish. You could use paint, but this is just more permanent, and you just put it on the tailpipe. Now I could have tried to make it I think they're made out of titanium, so like they become blue when they're hot. But I don't want to do that because it's more trouble, like it's harder for no reason. So I just painted silver. It's really easy. It's just a tip, and then you put it back together on the base. But this, for the floor, you have the floor edge and the plank at the bottom. As we know, all Formula One cars have a plank of wood underneath the car to regulate the ride height during a race. So here I am just making little lines into the plastic with my knife to make sure that I line them up as good as possible. And then for the first bit, I just put a triangle in there. So obviously this isn't fully accurate to what the car looks like, but it's definitely more details than what the Barago ones have, because they literally have nothing on the floor edge. So yeah, the first one is just going to be a triangle on both sides. Now this one is also really hard to get equal on both sides, get the same distance. Now I try to get a good like reference point to get it equal, but it's not perfect. But that kind of stuff's happened. And then for the second one, it's a diagonal line and then a longer, slightly curved line back to the second line you did. And same thing on both sides, obviously. Now this one scares me a little because I'm always afraid to cut a bit too deep into the plastic. And then just make it so that it's ridiculously large, the gap that is. And so you see there, it's not excessively equal, but you can try to fix it a little bit by trimming one side rather than, you know, just leaving it like that. But it's fine. So yeah. There it is. Doesn't look too bad. Now, I don't know if I actually painted the floorboard in this video. I don't think I did, but that is okay. It's very simple. You take the middle of the front of the floor, and then you just make a straight line towards where it would end with tan paint. And then what I do for it to stay there is I take a matte clear varnish and just layer that on top. Now these are already sanded tires for the car. I didn't want to spend, you know, like 5 minutes sanding the tires for a video. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next one. And let me know what you think in the comments, obviously. Bye-bye.